This controller is super popular in Japan, with a ton of the Apex pros using it, but no one in the US seems to know about it. I'm one of the only, if not the only person in the US with this controller, and I think everyone is sleeping on it. This is the Void Gaming Firebird, a PS4 controller with a custom board inside and TMR sticks. Think of this as a similar concept to the Marius board. It may not be 8000 Hz like the Marius board, but trust me, this controller is absolutely a competitor. The main selling point after using it for a few weeks is the software. The RC filter makes the controller feel so different from everything else, but more on that later. The customizability is insane and it makes every other controller hard to use after adjusting to it. But first, let's look at the controller itself. There isn't too much to say about the controller itself. It is a DualShock 4 shell with TMR sticks and the Firebird board inside. The triggers and bumpers are mouse clicks, and the D-pad and face buttons aren't. The sticks have fairly standard tension and feel great. I will go over the software as briefly as possible just so the video doesn't go on forever. On this first page, you have the stick scaling settings as well as the dead zone settings. The stick scaling shape is the main thing to focus on this page. This just changes the way that the shape of the stick is. For visualization of these stick scaling shape settings, this is my right stick at 0, 0. And then this is my right stick again at 100, 100. This shows how different your stick shape and circularity is if you change your stick scaling settings. For the dead zone settings, you can change inner, outer, and your anti-dead zone separately for X and Y, and these values go from 0 to 2047. For the curve settings, you have all these presets as well as custom, and you can change P1, P2, and P3. For the output settings, the main thing to look at is the resolution limit. You can change your stick resolution from 8-bit to 12-bit as well as unlimited. So this page has the RC filter and the snapback filter. The RC filter is the main thing that kind of makes the Firebird what it is. The way that the RC filter works is that if the value is positive, it will reduce the noise on the stick, but if the value is negative, it will actually add noise and make the stick appear more jittery. However, it makes the stick also feel way more responsive. There's a simple and an advanced mode. They do the same thing, but there's more customizability with the advanced mode. Below the RC filter is the snapback filter. This kind of just does what it says. It can reduce the amount of snapback. And similar to the RC filter, there's a simple and an advanced mode. There are settings for angle correction, gyro, and trigger settings. I won't cover any of these because I've not really experimented with these. Here's the key config page. You can remap anything that you want. It doesn't even have to be only controller settings. You can map things to mouse and keyboard. For example, here I have my buttons for muting and clipping things. One feature here is that you can actually change your left stick and right stick to mouse and keyboard, so you can actually play games such as Valorant that don't really normally allow you to do that. Here is the USB mode. You have all of these settings. X input is the thing that has the lowest latency and works on games like Apex. For input rate, you can change your polling rate of the controller as well as your stick scan rate. For profile settings, you can have up to 8 profiles, and you can also import and export these to share with others. Regarding how the controller feels during gameplay, your aim will be shakier with high negative RC filter values. Even if you're really smooth, you will experience this. I would say personally, it's pretty noticeable in about 20 to 30% of fights. However, that is the trade-off. The sticks feel incredibly responsive, and the shake's not going to mess you up most of the time, unless you're on a high sense or you're just naturally shaky. I will say in scrim endgames or tournaments, I will have more noticeable shake just due to nerves, so if you're competing, you might want to turn those values down a little bit. The RC filter is really insane. No other controller feels like this. When you watch clips, you can tell people are on the Firebird just off of their aim, and you can't really say this about any other controller. The tension of the sticks is pretty good. I was worried that the sticks would be too stiff just because of past experiences with some stiff TMR sticks, but these are really good. I would say the tension won't be too different from stuff like the Blitz 2, and it has lower tension than the GameSir and the DualSense Edge. These are a nice tension for most people, so unless you have a preference in the extreme, this will probably work for you. I was pretty skeptical about the non-mouse click face buttons and D-pad, but it isn't really that bad. You will have to adjust, but it's not really noticeable, and these buttons are way easier to press than stuff like the DualSense Edge, so unless mouse click buttons are non-negotiable for you, you'll be fine. When I ordered, this controller was $185. You have to send in a PS4 controller to their company. For shipping in the US, it cost me $70 to do it, so if you can have someone in Japan send one in for you, that would definitely be more cost effective. I also had to pay $35 in customs after they sent me the controller, so this price adds up if you are shipping. After I sent the controller in, it took about a month and a half until I got the Firebird. The way to get the controller is through a lottery system now. When I ordered it, it wasn't this way, so I don't have as much information on how this works. However, I will share links below in the description if you are interested and want to research for yourself. Compared to other controllers, I would say that this is the number one or the number two option right now. The only real competitor that I can see right now is the Marius board. I know that there's stuff like the G7 Pro or the ZD Ultimate, but honestly, I don't think those are going to come close. I will get my Marius board at the start of next week, and I'm excited for that because I can compare the two finally. But for now, I would say that this is one of the endgame controllers. Without a doubt, this controller feels unreal to aim with. Like, it actually doesn't compare to anything else. My advice is I would enter the lottery for this controller as much as you can, and just pray that you get it. I don't know how many they have each time the lottery system comes out, but I would just do your best to get one if you are interested. If you're a pro and you're watching this video, reach out because they might be able to send you one, but for regular people, it is going to be pretty hard. I can't stress enough how unique this controller feels to aim with, so if you get the chance to buy one and you're interested after watching this video, definitely try to get one. I will link a lot of the info on this controller in the description, as well as my config if you have the Firebird. If there's enough interest, I can make a follow-up video explaining all of my settings, and if there's enough interest on the Marius board, I can definitely make a review of that in comparison to the Firebird. Show some support, and thanks for watching.